Hello and welcome to Digital Storytelling. My name is Felix Cronenberg and I'm an Associate Professor of Modern Languages and Literatures and Director of the Language Learning Center at Rhodes College. In this installment of my web tutorial, I will talk a little bit about course integration and assessment of digital storytelling. So how do you integrate digital storytelling into the classroom? A couple of pointers on how the process might work, and in the next installment, video number 4, I will talk more about the range of projects from digital micro-storytelling to large project-based classes. In general, I think there's a simplified production process. At first, I usually start with a brainstorming session. I have students think about what they could talk about, write about, display in their digital stories. Defining this is very important in giving students a clear understanding of what they can and shouldn't do with their digital stories. And this can be rather loose or this can be very defined. This is very similar to creating an essay assignment. We also storyboard then. I think this is very important to not just go straight into the production process, but before we even think about technical integration, editing software, capturing devices, and all the like, we really should think about storyboarding. And I think this pre-process is really the crucial phase of this. The final production part really isn't as important. The learning often happens in this beginning part, where students think about how to structure their story. Simplified stories, of course, don't need as much storyboarding as more complex projects, and I will talk more about that in video number 4. So writing down, coming up with a structure, coming up with a sequence for the media and the types of media involved is very important in this, and this really lends itself to peer and group work. Finding media is one of the next things. Often I integrate lessons about copyright, about citing visual sources often found online, but also things about what good media are, for example, how to take photos, and some technical aspects like the quality of audio. We talk about length and transitions and fonts and all sorts of things, especially during the more elaborate digital storytelling projects. Assessment is an important part. How do we grade this? And in a way, this is really not as difficult as it often seems at first. I usually use a rubric. On the screen, you see a very complicated one that really divvies up the different categories like purpose, audience, content, economy, vocabulary, correctness of grammar, etc. Now, this is for foreign languages. If you do this in other areas such as anthropology or English, you will most likely have a different rubric. If you Google digital storytelling rubric, you will find a lot of templates, and you can identify what is important for you and make necessary changes. Last but not least, what's very important is to actually view and showcase and show these digital stories. The production doesn't end there. One of the most powerful parts of digital storytelling is showing these stories to others. And as they're usually very condensed versions of very complex issues, you can view a lot of digital stories in a relatively short period of time. So having a screening at the end of class, for example, would be a great way to convey that. Another way is to have a kind of film festival, and ideally students might go back and actually edit them one more time.